Hi everyone, it's me Chris again, the link behind the camera, and today we're going to install more diesel truck parts. Yay! So we bought the Edge Insight CTS-3, which stands for color touchscreen, and it's the third version that they came out with because we did do the delete on the truck and we want to kind of monitor a lot more things than what's actually just on the regular gauges of the truck. So this Edge Insight CTS-3 monitors every single data point that's available to the computer. So that's a lot of stuff. And I think we can display quite a few on the screen. We'll figure it out. But here's the monitor. Ooh. Maybe you guys saw our unboxing shorts that Link whipped up real quick about the different components. But here's the monitor that we're going to install in the truck. Here's the cable, which plugs into your OBD2. And if you guys saw in our previous video of when we did the delete, the 4-position switch has a spot for this kind of in line. So that's cool because then we can still use our regular OBD2 port for anything else we want. And then this is the HDMI in that plugs into the screen. So we got to try and hide this underneath the dash. And then it also came with a suction cup mount, but we're not going to use that. And it came with this USB cord to update your CTS-3 because I'm pretty sure that you can change the CTS-3 instead of just being a monitor, because that's all we're doing is monitoring a lot of the data points on the truck. You can change this into, I believe it's a chip, kind of like the old Edge Juice with Attitude or something. I think you can do that if you update it. So there's that. And that's pretty cool. Here's the instructions. But it's ridiculously easy to follow how to do this, so probably won't need those. Over here, we have this, which is called the Expandable Accessory System by Edge. And so you guys see the picture here on the front. So this cable, I'll show you here. This cable, we're going to poke this end through the firewall. So this is in the engine bay. And this end stays underneath the dash. So here's the one for the monitor, OBD2 and monitor plugs. Well, in line, it's got this plug that clicks in here. And then this, like I said, this round end will go underneath the engine bay through the firewall. And so then what we do with that end is we can connect any kind of accessory. So you can get like pressure sensors, temperature sensors. You can get all kinds of sensors. And then you see this end along with this end, and they just stack. So you can put this one on, then you can stack another one and another one and another one and another one and another one, and you can just keep stacking all different kinds of sensors to monitor whatever you want. And the Edge Insight, it just picks up and it knows what they are. Like it's so easy and simple. It is really good. So this is called the starter system. So here's the starter cable. You only need one of these, and then however many accessories you want. And so we've got an EGT probe. And so we're going to install this one into the exhaust manifold so we can monitor EGTs while we're towing, or if we crank it up to the race mode on the chip, which I really want to do, but I've been reluctant because we're running a factory exhaust and factory exhaust manifold and factory turbo. So we've got those pieces we're going to install today. And then this here, I told you we're not using the stupid suction cup. This here is an aluminum powder coated mount made by Edge specifically for this truck. So this will actually mount onto the A-pillar where the bottom of the grab handle is. And it'll come around, and then we'll mount the monitor kind of, I think it's kind of going to go like this over top of the dash. So, but we'll get into that later and we'll show you guys. So first things first, we're going to grab some tools and we're going to figure out how to get this wire run in the dash of the truck. Okay, so we're going to pop these two covers off because there's two bolts that hold this whole A-pillar cover on, and I think we're gonna pull that A-pillar cover off because we got to run the wire kind of down inside this corner right up here in the dash. So to pop these out, it's got a little screwdriver. I'm just gonna kind of get in there and they just pop out pretty easy. There's one, and then this one here should be the opposite direction. Yeah, there we go. And I believe that's a 10 millimeter inside there. So, oh yeah, there we go. Take this one off. There's one. And this other one. So this other one is where that gauge mount hooks into, is right in here. And that gauge mount will come down and over. So I think we might have to end up removing this cover, but that's okay. We'll figure that out when we get this off. It should just, oh, come on. Where are you? It should just pop out when we get this done. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. There's the other one. Okay. So now this whole thing should just pop off like that. Oh, look at that. There's an airbag right here. Oh, I didn't know about that. Okay. So we're going to try and grab the wire and we'll run it down there and we'll get back to you guys when we have it put in place and we'll show you the final product. Okay, so you guys can see that we got our cable run between the dash here. So we're going to just have to pull this down, I think. We're going to reinstall the A-pillar cover. And I think there's enough room here that this cord should just kind of fit between the A-pillar and the dash. I've seen it done on a few other videos like that, but I'm not sure the length. So we'll get that done. And then we're going to mount the new bracket. This fancy bracket here. It's going to end up mounting kind of in this area. So we kind of know that this cord, yeah, something like that. Anyway, so we're going to put that all together and then we'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Also, we're going to have to make sure we tie all this up. You don't want this cord to get in the way of your brake pedal or your release or something, or the clutch. So we'll tie it up with zip ties and stuff underneath the dash and make sure it's neat and tidy and out of the way. Okay, so what we ended up doing was we actually filed a little groove on the bottom of the A-pillar here for this cable so that it wasn't fitting quite right in there. So at least now there's kind of a bit of a relief, and that'll kind of get covered up when we put the mount in. But we're just tightening up this A-pillar again. So there we go. That there is the factory bolt. We popped the cover off the other one. It just popped out of that hole there. And now we're going to try and mount our arm. So this should just fit on there. It's a 4 millimeter Allen head. And this should just kind of fit down in here. And we'll get it positioned where we want, and then we'll tighten it up all the way. Should be a good solid mount though. I don't know if that screen's going to interfere with the windshield or whatnot, but it's got that ball mount on there, so we should be able to adjust it however we like. So I'll just show you guys what it kind of looks like. There, that's what it looks like with the arm. So we can, adjust it up or down a little bit. I'm not sure where we're going to go just yet. We'll get the screen and we'll get the ball mount for it. We'll kind of just stick it up there, and then once we plug the screen in, we'll just pull some of this cable back down through underneath the dash so that we don't have a big loop of cable up there on the top. So we'll get that sorted out, and then we'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, so look at that. We got it installed over here. There's the edge and the mounting arm, and the cables run down in behind. And if you pass me the phone link, I'll show the people what it looks like sitting in the driver's seat. So sitting here in the driver's seat, and it's right there. So it's not really in the view or anything, and it's just a reach over and it's touch screen. Okay, so we took the expandable accessory system cable from the engine bay, and we found a rubber grommet down under there. Go ahead, show them, son. So if you can see there you go. Sorry about that. Excuse me. I don't know why I sneezed. But anyway, so yeah, you can see the rubber grommet there where Link showed you guys. So we just poked a hole in there, and we used a wire. We taped up the end of the cord and just pulled her through. So this is the end where the EGT probe is going to connect to here under the hood. And then underneath the other end is going to plug in line with the Edge power cable from the OBD2 up to the screen itself. So we're just going to carry on. I'm going to tie those wires up underneath, and then we'll plug it in, and then we'll continue on here under the hood. Okay, so we've got the wire run, and we got the display set up kind of on the mount, and now we just have to hook up our new EGT probe. So here's the wiring that's going to run across the truck, and then we have the EGT probe itself. So I don't know if you guys have watched our delete video or not, but back here in the back of the engine bay, go ahead and show them there, son. But there's that block-off plate in the very back there, and there's a plug in it. So that's where we're going to end up putting our EGT gauge, is right in that block-off plate. So the reason we're deciding to do that there is because we may eventually put a performance exhaust manifold on the truck, and that's going to be much better for, you know, your exhaust gas scavenging and everything else. But for now, we just want to monitor something. I know it's not ideal because it's only kind of back there where number 5 and 6 cylinders come together, but also that's kind of just before the turbo. So the front 4 cylinders kind of all collect into the turbo, and then the back 2 into the turbo. So the number 6 cylinder always runs the hottest on these Cummins engines. So we're just going to put it back there, and it's going to give us an idea of where we're at when we're towing, or if we turn the chip up to race mode or something else. So we're going to take that plug out. We're going to put a little bit of anti-seize on this piece here, and we're going to install it. And we'll show you guys how we do that right away. All right, guys, so you can see I've got my ratchet, and I've got an Allen on here. This is 5mm Allen, and I already broke it loose before we started filming. Damn it. All right, Link grabbed my ratchet that I dropped for me. So like I was saying, we already loosened this off before we started filming. So we're just going to take this plug out, and then we're going to replace it with the EGT sensor. So just pop this one out. There we go. No, don't drop that one. And then we're going to put some anti-seize on this one, thread in. I'm going to make sure it fits first. It should be the same thread. Okay, that's a little bit stiff. All right, we're going to stop filming here. We're going to check this out, make sure we got the right threads, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, so we took the little brass plug, and we determined that that was actually 1/8 inch NPT, which is National Pipe Thread. So then we double checked the, I don't know what you call it, the ferrule or adapter or whatever you want to call it, for the EGT probe. And that end is also 1/8 inch NPT. So we grabbed ourselves a tap that's 1/8 inch NPT as well. And we're just going to run it in those threads just to double check to make sure that we don't have any galling or anything kind of messed up in there, because we don't want this to get cross-threaded. When you go to do something like this in an exhaust manifold where you're worried that you could do damage to like the turbo or, you know, something else, you can run a bunch of grease on here. You can do it with the engine running. You can run a vacuum over it while you're doing it. But because we're just chasing the threads, and I think all that's in there is a little bit of soot and maybe some other anti-seize or thread tape, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to run this down a little bit and then run it back. So another cool little tool that we have is this square drive, because I'll never get the long T handle in there that you use on a tap. So I have this square drive so I can get in there and I can just ratchet it in and out. I'm going to start it with my fingers by hand first though, because I don't want to start it and accidentally cross thread it and then just start cranking with the ratchet, because that'll just do more damage. So I don't know if you can see in here, I'm just going to place it in gently and start to thread it in by hand. There we go. It's actually going in by hand. So, oh, okay, it's stiffened up a little bit there, but it's nice and straight and not cross-threaded. So I'm just going to run it down a little bit with the ratchet. Yeah, see, it's going nice and easy. I'm not putting hardly any pressure on there, and it's working really well. Okay, it's starting to stiffen up. Now, when it gets stiff like that, because pipe threads are tapered, that means that we're going to actually start feel like we're cutting new threads. And that's the point that I want to stop, because I'm not trying to cut new threads. I'm just trying to clean up the threads that are there. Okay, I think that's it. So I'll grab that adapter and see if it'll fit in there a little bit better now. Oh, hey there. Okay, so for some reason that wasn't fitting properly. I didn't like the way that it was going in. So me and Link, we just decided, you know what? Instead of trying to mess around with this in the engine bay, we have the block-off plate from the EGR delete. Let's just take the block-off plate completely off, and we can work on this at the workbench. There's no chance of anything falling into the engine, and we can actually get a better look at it and see what we're doing. And it's just going to make things easier for us. So that's what we're doing now. I'm just taking these bolts off, and the block-off plate will come right out. Okay, so now you guys can see that we have put our adapter for the EGT probe in the block-off plate. So we actually did have to cut some more threads in there with the tap, and then we cleaned it all out, and then we've got some anti-seize on, and I put this in. It doesn't look like it's in very far, but that's probably in, oh, I don't know, maybe about a 1/4 inch or so, and it got really snug. So I'm confident that it's tight enough and it's going to hold just fine. So we're going to put this block-off plate back in place, and then we're going to put in the EGT probe and we'll run our wiring. Okay, so here's our EGT probe. It's built to attach to the EAS system, or whatever it's called, the easy expandable whatever accessory thing. Anyway, so we're going to put the probe in, but you want to be cautious of where you route the wiring. So you can see it's got steel braided, you know, kind of cover on there to help protect the wires from the heat and everything. But still, you want to be cautious of how you run this. And then, of course, make sure you don't bend the hard stainless part. So we're just going to put it in. I think I'm going to drop it in here like that. And I think I'm going to run it kind of back this way with the wiring here. And then maybe we'll run the wires up across the firewall over to that side to where we connect it to. So you don't need any kind of thread tape or anything like that, because this seals itself. So you just put it in there snug using my 14 mil or your 9/16. Find the 14 mil is a little bit tighter on there. We're just going to snug this up so that we don't have any exhaust leaks here. Now the probe is turning a little when you go to tighten it like that, but that's okay. I accounted for that when I was putting it in there. There we go. So that's nice and snug. So we'll just run these wires back across. So we have this one here that's going to plug in. We'll run it over and we'll coil it all up on that side, and we'll show you guys the final product. That's it. Install is done. We've got our EGT probe installed in the back there in the exhaust, and then we ran our wire nicely, and it's all coiled up under the dash here, or under the hood, sorry. And the one under the dash is all coiled up. It's zip tied out of the way, so it's not going to get caught in any of the linkage with the pedals or the steering or anything. And Link had the satisfaction of peeling the screen protector off of the monitor. So let's get in the truck and check this thing out and see what it looks like. All right, so we kind of cheated and we did do a little bit of setup earlier, but we just wanted to see what it looked like. We were too excited, so let's turn it on. And it should fire up on its own. Anytime. Well, that's not good. There it is. I don't know what that's about. We're just learning. We're just trying to play with it. So we did set up some of the gauges and stuff on there, but it's all touch screen, so it's really cool. Like you swipe down and then you can change your wallpaper, your theme settings, you can edit the layout. If you want, you can add an optional camera, but we have the backup camera on the screen, so we don't care about that. And then you can swipe up. Oh, I swiped sideways. Okay, so sideways gives you different gauges. I think the next one is crazy. Look at that, 16 different PIDs. So it's really cool. I don't remember what a PID stands for, but every single data point that the ECM kind of can look at, we can display on here. It is crazy the amount of stuff that we can watch. Okay, oops, wrong way. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's swipe this way, swipe this way. Sorry guys, I'm getting in your road. We swipe up from the bottom. Okay, so we have tuning, diagnostics, performance tests, EAS settings, and settings. So it's pretty cool. It's very versatile. It's very fast. It looks great. Yeah, so we're going to set it up a little bit, and then maybe we'll go for a drive, and we'll let you guys know what it's like. All right, so we're going for a little drive, and as you guys can see, zoom in on that link, that our new gauge is working pretty good. It's showing boost pressure, EGTs. You know, we got horsepower on there. I don't know how accurate the horsepower is, but now we can crank the truck up with the chip. We can monitor tons of information on there, and it seems to be working just fine. It shows us everything we want to know and then some. Very customizable. We haven't even touched on all the things you can do with it, but it's pretty cool. Even when you're gearing down, it shows boost pressure and your EGTs, and it's really good. We're really happy. Thanks, Edge.